She also battled deep anxiety and began harming herself as a way to release pain. The worst part was that the adults around her saw the signs but didn't help. That early betrayal taught her thought, staying quiet never protected Denyon. It's one of the reasons Shelley Tor became such a strong defender of free speech. Words became her protection, her escape, and her identity. When everything else felt out of control, writing gave her power. Things began to shift when she went to Lutheran High School, north in Macomb. That school was small, and that helped her Finley find some balance. She joined the theater club and wrote for the school newspaper. She used her trauma and turned it into dark humor, performing jokes and writing stories that made people laugh and think. She still felt like an outsider, but now she had a voice. Her grades improved, and she started to find confidence. The school's Christian roots often clashed with her growing political beliefs, but it was her that she began to figure out who she truly was. Years later, 2014 became one of the darkest times of her life. Her mother, Anne-Marie, was diagnosed with a rare disease called cardiac amyloidosis, which affects the heart. It was so uncommon that doctors didn't recognize it until it was too late. On Sethi did. Her mother had only 3 weeks to live. She passed away at 57 years old. Kat was just 26. Broke, heartbroken, and leaving on a yoga mat in a small California apartment. Losing her mother left a hole in her heart that never really healed. Even years later, Shaw made jokes about it online to cope. But truth behind those jokes was raw pain. Kat's education had always been a source of pride. From 2006 to 2010, she studied English at Hillsdale College. Graduating magna cum laude, she joined Chi Omega sorority, wrote for the college paper, studied abroad in England, and interned at the Detroit News. Her parents couldn't help financially, so she worked different jobs to pay her way through school. It was during the recession, but she didn't quit. Her time at Hillsdale shaped her beliefs about freedom, politics, and individual responsibility, values that would later define her work. After college, she jumped into media work, starting with an internship at KFIA 6040 in Los Angeles in 2012. She became a traffic reporter in a helicopter, waking up at 4 a.m. every morning. But she wasn't great at following directions, and since that was the main part of the job, she got fired. Still, she didn't give up. To stay legally in her unpaid internship, she enrolled in community college while also working late-night diner shifts to pay the bills. She barely slept for months, but kept going. In 2013, she got a chance to work for Campus Reform, reporting on college protests and censorship. She wrote about absurd events like a campus canceling a petting zoo because of a camel or a fundraiser getting shut down over a misunderstood. Her stories were funny, but also sharp, calling out how free speech was disappearing on college campuses. That fight for open expression became her life's work. Even with her talent, she couldn't catch a break. Her unpaid Fox News internship ended because of labor laws in California. She lost her car and apartment and began driving up the coast looking for work. Most stations said no. Finally, the Washington Times gave her a tenure opportunity, a 2-minute radio segment. She made it count. Her confidence and sharp humor got people's attention, and those 2 minutes turned into her big break. Her personal life, however, was falling apart. Her boyfriend left and she was alone in Los Angeles. To cope, she turned to stand-up comedy. Open mic nights became her therapy. She talked about heartbreak, loneliness, and life's absurdities. Sometimes people laughed, sometimes they didn't. She bombed marathon once. But every failure taught her something. Timing, control, courage. That raw honesty became her strength. By 2014, she was writing for the International Business Times and winning recognition for her bold political takes. She later received the Robert Novak Journalism Fellowship, writing about how California's strict policies were shaping the country. She started publishing articles for Investors Business, Daily, and National Reviewing spots on 30 under 30 lists for conservative writers. Every step was proof of what persistence could do. Then came May 31, 2015, the night that changed her career. Kat appeared on the Greg Gutfeld Show on Fox News for the first time. Her opening line mocking celebrities who talked about climate change while flying private jets went viral. Her joke about them having more carbon footprints than brain cells spread across social media. Getting over 50,000 shares in one day? She and Stanley Beckham, a viewer favorite. Within 3 months, Fox hired her full-time. Her humor and honesty made her stand out. In 2017, she joined Fox News specialists Asa co-host. Her libertarian views often clashed with her co-hosts, especially after major national controversies. During one heated episode after Charlottesville, she called out white supremacy directly, saying there were no good people in that group. Viewers respected her for not holding back. The show's ratings climbed, but after a scandal involving another host, the show was canceled, leaving Kat in limbo again. In 2019, she launched her own show on Fox Nation called Sincerely Kat. It started as a lighthearted talk show, but soon became deeply personal. She opened up about her mental health, eating disorders, and the pain of losing her parents. In one emotional episode, she removed her fake lashes and hair on camera, saying, "None of this is real." That raw honesty resonated with millions. The episode went viral and became one of Fox Nation's most watched programs. When Gutfeld launched in 2021, she was already a star. The show quickly became the most watched late-night program on TV, beating big network noms. Her quick-cutting humor about cancel culture and modern politics went viral often. One of her jokes about cancel culture being a hobby for people with no hobbies reached over 8 million impressions online. But her success did erase her scars. On July 24, 2017, during an event in Brooklyn, a man approached her and dumped a bottle of water on her head. It was an attack. He'd followed her, targeted her, and disappeared. She couldn't even give her planned speech that night. The experience left her shaken and afraid to appear in public for months. The man was never caught, but the moment changed her. It made her tougher. In 2023, she released her first book, You Can't Joe About That, which became an instant #1 bestseller. The book explored the power of humor to heal pain even around dark topics like cancer, trauma, and death. She wrote about how society was becoming afraid to speak freely and how comedy was one of the last places people could tell the truth. A year later, she released her second book, Used to Like You Until, which became a New York Times bestseller. The book shocked readers when she revealed had once been in a relationship with a woman. She wrote openly about how that relationship ended because of the woman's mother, who couldn't accept her daughter dating someone from Fox News. Kat said she didn't want to be labeled heterosexual or any label at all, sparking debate across political lines. When she discussed it on Joe Rogan's podcast, the episode exploded online, reaching millions of views. Kat has never shied away from controversy. Her rarely writing for National Review and Campus Reform already made waves. She criticized universities for promoting victim instead of resilience and called out politicians she saw as hypocritical. Every time people tried to tassel her, she only grew bolder. Even after facing public backlash for jokes, like when she once made a sarcastic comment about Star Wars fans that led to hate messages and threats, she refused to apologize. She said humor was supposed to be comfortable, and that free speech mattered more than popularity. Behind all the jokes and the confidence, Kat has always been honest about her struggles.